Kathryn here with Circle Art Designs. Today I am bringing you our Fairy Fire Fantasy Stone. We hand make these stones, and I will be beading this piece for a necklace for a special order, and I wanted to show you the process. I will list on the picture above the materials that I am using for this pendant. I started out by sketching out what I want to do with this Fairy Fire stone, and then the materials that I will want to use for them. I'm using 11/0, and then I will also use an 8/0 and a 15/0. The 11/0 will be in copper and gold, and the 15/0 will be also in gold. The 8/0 will be in pumpkin. I just love the colors in this Fairy Fire. My daughter came up with that name, by the way, when she saw them. She says, "Oh, Mom, it looks just like Fairy Fire." And I have a tendency to agree with her, hence the name. I always wax my thread before I put it on the needle. I'm using an 11 needle, by the way, and this is Ceylon thread in the gold color. Once I've made a small knot in my thread, I come up as close to the stone as possible. I then put on 2 seed beads and go back down through the stone. Come back up. I don't go down through the stone. Okay, let's get this right. I go down next to the stone and will come back up between the first 2 seed beads. When I go back up on those first 2 seed beads that started, I actually go through both seed beads again. After that, I will add 2 more seed beads, go right next to the first seed bead, go down next to the stone, and come back up behind the first 2 seed beads, catching the first seed bead of the previous. And then pulling my thread through all 3, I will be ready to add 2 more seed beads, go down through the material, come back up in next to the 3rd bead from the front, go through all of them, put on 2 more seed beads, go down next to the stone, come back up in the 3rd seed bead from the front of the 2 stones you just, the 2 seed beads you just put on, and do it again. Sometimes my tongue will not say what my mind is thinking. Do you ever have times like that? I'm sure you don't want to watch me go all the way around the stone. You will continue in a like manner until you get to the other end. So, I will see you on the other side. Now that we've gone all the way around with the 8/0 pumpkin matte seed beads, it's time for us to step up. In this row, we will skip every other seed bead, continuing with the pumpkin. We're doing this because this is a rather high stone, and I want to be able to have the consistency of the pumpkin in 2 rows. Time, you are not going to the back of the material. You are only going through the seed beads in the first row. Therefore, you'll pick up a seed bead, you'll skip a seed bead in that first row, and go into the next seed bead with your needle, pulling it tight, giving it a 1 bead, skip bead, 1 bead, skip bead, all the way around. Well, it looks like I got my thread twisted when I went through the seed bead. So I will take my needle off, pull the thread through, and start that part again. So again, we're going to go all the way around, skipping every other bead and putting in the 11 O's in the second row. And here's what it should look like. Can you see how you skip every other bead? Continue all the way around until we meet at the beginning. And now we're ready for our next step. We're just continuing this second row, but this time we will be using our copper beads in the 11 O's. Here I'm stepping up into the next 8O, and I'm getting ready to put in my first 11O seed bead. Once you put in that first 11O seed bead, you will go through each of your 8 O's, putting an 11O between them, pulling it tight to finish this round. And there you have it. We're ready to step up for the next round. We begin this round the same way as the previous, using the copper beads to go in every other one. When we have finished this round, we will need to do another step up into the 11O seed bead, and then we will move on to the 15O seed bead, finishing this round in the same manner as the previous. I am showing you where that step up is going to happen. Don't you just love the edge of my scissors? So here you can see that I have stepped up and I am putting the 15 O's between the 11 O's in this row. And I will continue this until we get all the way around. And here we are. All the rows are completed, and now all we have to do is move our needle between the stone and the beads down through the material and tie a knot. What a beautiful piece. I love the way these beads bring out the colors of the Fairy Fire Fantasy Stone. Next, we will trim away the material. Trim as closely to the beads as you can without nipping your threads on the underside. To nip the threads would be very bad. I have done it. You do not want to have to start over. The next thing I do is I choose a bell for the piece. I like to use these glue-on bells before I finish the back of the piece. I will use E6000 on them to glue them in place, and then I will glue another piece to hide my threads. Although I didn't show it here, I whip stitch around the edges in a thread that will be nice on the back side. And then for this piece, I added crystal cones. I did not show this because I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, but I'll show it in another piece. You'll be able to see my whip stitching whenever I flip this over. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. I'm adding a picture so you can see what the back looks like once I've whip stitched and I've added the cone crystals. I'm setting up to make the fringe for this pendant. It really doesn't have to have it, but the person who ordered it wanted fringe, and I think it gives it an added touch. It flashed by really quickly, but I did make matching earrings. It's a simple, put the beads on a head pin, make a loop, and add a hook. I think they're really cute. And every beautiful pendant needs a beautiful necklace. For this pendant, I will be using the same beads that I used in the pendant with a looped head pin. There will be a loop on one end. I will make combinations of the different beads, and then I will use my looper to make the loop on the other end. As you can see, when you use this looper, there's a little bitty hole on the far side. You will put your bead right up against the edge of the looper, catching your wire in that hole, and then press, and it makes a perfect little circle. One thing to remember when you're making these components, always make the same number for both sides. That way you don't have to stop after you've done one side and make the components all over again for the other side. Again, we will place the wire up against the edge of the looper, catching the wire in the little hole, and press. Voila, a perfect circle. And now it's time to join our components together. I use jump rings to join these components. I have seen people that join the components using the loops, but I find that really stiff. I don't know if I do something wrong, if they're a secret that I don't know about, but for me, they come out stiff, so I use jump rings. I like the movement and I like the flow. Make sure that you check your jump rings and that they really close well. You don't want anything coming apart when you're wearing it. For me, I think I've got it closed, and then I turn it to the other side, and lo and behold, I pushed it out too far the other way. we will be doing this for both sides. I like to lay out my components for both sides at the same time, and then I put them back in the same little spot so that I can make sure that they are lining up properly. When we finish this, we will be adding chain. Making these components, I got a lot of practice using that looper and then getting my jump rings closed so that this would be a strong and beautiful piece of the necklace. Things that have a lot of repetition in them are the ones in which I learn best. Something I haven't mentioned is I'm using oval jump rings. I learned this trick from a woman named Randy from Thunder Horse Descendant on YouTube. She uses the oval jump rings and talked about how strong they were because of where you join them together. It's a neat trick if you want to try it. And there you have it. Isn't that a lovely piece? Okay, let's get a close-up here. I forget to do close-ups. I have enough trouble just keeping my hands in the screen. But I wanted you to be able to see the beautiful lineup of these beautiful beads. Isn't that going to look pretty with the pendant? Yes, I forgot to bring it back down so my hands would be in the shot. What I'm doing now is opening up the jump rings to add a piece of the chain between both of the components where my pendant will swing from. Next I will add my bell, because once I add the other side, I would not be able to get this pendant on it over the beads. Did you notice? I finally remembered to lower it so you could see what I was doing. Good job, Kathryn. Once I finish chasing the jump ring around, I'm going to add the other side of the components to the piece of chain in the middle that holds our pendant. I hope you enjoy these as much as I enjoy making them. This jump ring is fighting me just a bit. But I win out in the end. Isn't that lovely? I just love the way this necklace complements this beautiful pendant. And I love that fairy firestone. I think I will have to make me one. Have a great day and have a wonderful time beading. Kathryn, CircleArtDesigns.com.